The first type of swatch wheel I ever bought was this kind. It's like a clear plastic, and I got it on eBay. I knew about the kinds that Sally's Beauty Supply sold. That's this one here, but I didn't want to get it because they seemed a bit cheap, and I didn't want white. I would prefer clear because I like being able to see how thick one coat or two coats is. So I proceeded to buy as many as it took to swatch my entire collection. So this is my first entire collection of swatches, and then I recorded, obviously they're separated by color, and then kind of numbered around, and I recorded them in a spreadsheet, and everything was happy until one day I realized that every time I buy a color, I can't really put the color where it goes in the wheel. I have to put it in one of the empty spots, and then I can't really control how nice it looks in terms of the hues of the color. I can't rearrange them or anything like that. If I decided I wanted to have an entire yellow wheel and an entire orange wheel instead of one together, I'd have to make two whole new wheels instead of rearranging this. So I decided that I would go on a quest for a nail swatch solution that would allow me to rearrange them. So what I did is I found on eBay, actually it wasn't eBay, it was like a Chinese retailer website, these, and I've made a video or two about this already. As you can see, these were, I was going to bring this up later, but these two colors just come right off. Like, it's absolutely astonishing. They just slide right off. So this is a neon, and that is China Glaze Stone Cold. So I went through an entire saga where I'm trying to figure out how to fix this issue, because I found these are great. I labeled them and everything. I even made I swatched my entire collection on these new ones, and they're not cheap. Well, they're comes to between $3 and $4 each with shipping. So if I got 6 or 7 of these, it comes up to like 30-40 bucks just to swatch my collection. So I swatched everything, and then for the first day or two, they're fine, they stick, and then after it's completely cured, certain formulas of nail polish just they either come right off or they have really big chipping problems. So for example, this color right here is just like chipping off, right? So that's obviously no good, because clearly I want my nail polish archived so I can choose my color using the wheel. And so I decided that I would find a solution to that problem, and my solution to that problem was sandpaper. So I just figured out that if you use fine sandpaper, not coarse sandpaper, but fine sandpaper, and then put the polish on, you don't need a base coat or top coat, then it will stay. I was happy with that, moderately happy with that for a while, and then I realized that I would actually be in the store and I would say, oh, there's a nice color I want to buy, and then I would think to myself, oh, but then I have to go home and I have to sand one of these things, and then I have to label it and paint it on there. And it was just like, it was preventing me from actually wanting to buy nail polish, which for me is a problem. I was like, okay, this is counterproductive. I wanted this to facilitate my nail polish collection and not stifle it. So I reluctantly, in the end, decided that I would have to redo all my swatches again with some other new solution. So then I did even more research, and I bought a couple different kinds. So I decided that I still wanted to do something that you can rearrange everything. I wanted a plastic that would keep the nail polish on there, because I know they exist, because this one, my previous collection, I had absolutely no problems at all with the nail polish sticking. Like, it stayed just fine. So I wanted to find a solution that would allow me to rearrange them but still had nice plastic on it, like this, that would keep the polish on there without me having to sand it or anything. So I located 2 different solutions. One is the idea of a fan. So this is a Swatch fan, and I got this on eBay. There are 50 per fan. This was about $3 for this one fan that's got 50 nails on it. So it's more expensive than the Sally's thing for the number of swatches you can do, but it's a much higher quality. So I am going to compare and contrast all of the different types of nail swatch solutions that I've come across. The other nail fan that I got looks like this, and it has 20 instead of 50. Let's see here. And it was tied for the most expensive solution. So this is about $3. This has 20 swatches in it, so it was about $3 for 20 swatches, which is, I guess this is the most expensive one, but this is a close second. So this is about $3.75 with shipping included per board, and there's 24 nails on it. This is about $3 with shipping included for only 20. So if you had a large collection, like 200 or so, it would cost you like $30-40 to swatch everything using this one. This one is pretty nice. It has more swatches per like unit or whatever, so this was $3 for 50 of them. So you could swatch your entire 200 polish collection for like under $15 instead of 30 or 40. So this is more economical. Okay, so now I'm going to compare each one. So what I did, I actually knew I didn't want these. I went out and bought these specifically to make this video. So the first thing that I do not like about the Sally's one or equivalent is the fact that these things break off so easily. If I spend all this time making a swatch collection, I don't want them to fall off randomly, so you would have to treat them very delicately. And I like things that are more quality. I like my things to last, so I wasn't thrilled with this at all. But I was curious to see if these same three nail polishes would come off of this one or not. These polishes are a Neon Sinful Colors in Dream On, a China Glaze Stone Cold, and OPI Got the Blues for Red. So this is just a standard, this is not neon or anything, it's just a red. It's actually what's on my nails right now. So I wanted to see a normal polish, a neon polish, which I had a lot of problems with on this board, and Stone Cold, which I had the most problems with on this board. For some reason, the formula just doesn't like to cling to smooth plastic. So as you saw when I picked up this other one, they just like came right off. You just touch it and it just falls off. It's like it wasn't even painted on there. The normal polish is doing pretty good. I did find that the quality polishes stayed on this a lot better, but sort of the medium to low end ones would chip a lot, and I didn't want to have to remove and sand and repaint my entire collection, which took like 6 hours, so I wasn't gonna do that. So for this one, the plastic is actually surprisingly good. It doesn't come off at all. That could actually be a bad thing, because some people use these, like reuse them, they'll paint it and then they'll kind of peel off the paint or take it off with tape or whatever and then repaint it, like reuse them. I don't want to reuse it though. I just want like a permanent, all my swatches like for my entire collection, so I can go through them to pick a color. So in terms of the polish staying there, it's good. It is the cheapest one. I found an equivalent on eBay. If you go to Sally's, you're going to pay $5 for 10 wheels. But if you look on eBay, you can get the exact same thing for like under $1 with shipping included. So it is very, very cheap. But you do get what you pay for with those. These are much heavier and much like sturdier and better than the Sally's ones. You can also get these in white. And I really like these. The only thing I didn't like about it is the fact that I couldn't rearrange the nails. So the whole wheel thing just wasn't a good solution for me. So I actually already tested these. I know that these stay really well too. The only ones I had the problem with was the board. So these stay really well. I'll try some tape on it in a minute to see, like maybe that'll show some differences between them. And then there was the super high-end fan, or the highest end fan that I could find. This one's actually really hard to find, and this is, I think, the same ones that they use in like beauty stores. Like if you go to Sally Beauty and you look for the swatches that they have on display for like China glaze and stuff, I think it's actually this exact same one with like the plastic loop and everything. But instead of allowing it to just open like that, they like screwed something in here to keep it so that people can't mess with them in the store. But so anyway, these were definitely like the highest quality one. I really liked these. The only thing I didn't like was the price. And I don't really prefer the nail shape. I actually like the nail shape of this other fan a lot better. It's a bit bigger, and it's square at the end. And it also has like more shape to it on the side. Let's see if I can show you. So the higher quality one in this hand is flatter, which is okay. It makes the fan close more neatly, but it makes it harder to paint to the edge of the nail without messing up. Like real fingers have like this natural ridge all the way around it. It makes it a little bit easier to know where you're painting. This I found I had some trouble with that. So if you look here, you can see the red is a bit messed up here. By the way, the polish sticks pretty well on these. I did find that I liked it better if I painted on the bottom, which is actually what they do in the stores for this kind, at least at Sally's when I looked. They paint underneath, which I found really weird. I didn't really enjoy the process as much as I did, like painting these, for example. I don't know, it just felt really weird to paint the underside of it. So if I did decide to use this one, I would have to paint the underside of everything, which has the downside of you can't see the finish of the polish. Some of them are matte, or some of them are like demi-matte or have like special finishes on them, and it would be hard to see on top because this is just the plastic that I'm looking at. You'd actually have to switch it over to look. I don't really like that. So I was actually really torn for a long time whether or not I wanted to buy more of these. I just bought this one just to test it out because after my other mistakes, I kind of learned my lesson and not to buy a whole bunch of them right away, to test them first. And I was surprised that there was such a big difference between this one and this other one. So for this one, what I did not like about this one is that it was just shipped in a plastic bag loose. It wasn't actually assembled when it came. This one came fully assembled and everything. This one was a huge jumbled mess of like disgustingness in this plastic bag. So I had to take a few minutes to actually assemble them all, and it can be really annoying when you like get one of these backwards and they're not all facing the same direction. But once you get it, it's pretty good. The other downside of these is that you can't really lay them nicely. Like there's so many of them on here that they kind of have to do this messy thing because they're much thinner here than they are at the tip. So I didn't really like that. There are some solutions to this though. I'll show you what I did. One of the first things that I did when I got this is I tried to see how like rigid the nail was. So one of the reasons that I think that these are chipping so much was because the nails themselves are really, really flexible. Like, can you see that? It's like super flexible. And I think that's why the polish doesn't stay really well on these. Oops, see, look at there. That's exactly what I'm talking about, people. Why would you make a nail polish wheel where this stuff just falls right off? I don't know. Anyway, so it's really flexible and it's a problem. Like you can see what just happened right there. So the first thing I did when I got this is I tried to bend one of these to see, and it actually cracked it. Let me see if I can find it. No, not that one. And it cracked it. And I was like, oh no, they're cheap and whatever, and I was getting depressed. But then I realized that, well, I usually don't like bear down on stuff like that, so I got one of these. It's not this one, but I got one of these. Oh, maybe it is this one. This one right here, yeah. And I bent down one of these and it cracked too. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, cracking is actually a good sign because that means that it's rigid. If it's rigid, that means it won't be sort of bending and swaying and letting your polish just fall right off like that. So I decided that that was not actually a problem for me and that it was fine, and I just ignored that. These ones, this is for the quality one. Where is it? This came off of this one. So you can see it's a bit shorter. So these ones are, they're, I guess, not as rigid as this, but they're thicker, so they don't bend. Like there's no bend here and there's no cracking. Like it's super quality. Like this is the best quality one, like for sure, but it's totally expensive. So this one is the thickest, and this doesn't bend or crack at all. This bends a little bit. It's pretty nice, but too expensive, and I didn't like the nail shape. So I'm actually going to be using this for my next attempt at getting my stuff swatched, I think. So what I did was, because this is too messy looking for me, I like things to be really neat. What I did was I went to the hardware store, and what I was going to do is I was going to try and get a longer screw and bolt. This is the screw and bolt that it comes with. Bolt, screw. There's the screw and bolt that it comes with. So I was going to go, it's about, actually I think it's about 2.5 inches long. So I was going to go to the hardware store and get a longer one, and then get some kind of spacers, like washers or something, to put down here so that there would be enough room in between each one that they would lay nice and flat. But when I got there, what I realized is that, you know, washers are like 15 cents each, and if I have 200 nail polishes, I'm going to end up spending like 30 bucks again. So I decided that, okay, maybe I don't need to have this many in one collection. Like maybe I can just split this up. So what I did was I got smaller ones. See here? And here. So this would have been all in one, but when you separate them out, there's enough room that you can kind of line them up and they stay. If you put them all together, it's just too much pressure and they go everywhere. But if you separate them into two, it's kind of perfect because you can lay them flat. And actually, the one bolts that I got are a little thicker than the bolts that they came with. So it's a little stiffer and they'll stay put a little better. Like if you fan it out, they'll stay fanned out like that. It's one of the qualities of the better one that I liked better, is when you fan it out, it actually stays fanned out. As opposed to this one, like it's just sort of like loosey and all over the place, because this isn't tight in here. It's just kind of a lot smaller than the holes are. So I went and I found one that fit the holes a lot better. And the one that I found, I just got a set like this. It's got the bolts in it already. It was 3/16 inch and 1.5 inch long. So this turned out to be perfect. And I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to split up the ones that I got like this. And I'm going to use this for my new swatches. Another thing that I really like about the fan solution is that I can actually control how big each collection is. For example, if I have a lot more red than I have yellow or orange or something, I can have more here. Like I don't have to have just 20. If I have these, I can only have 24 or less, but I can't have any more. Like if I had only one extra red, I'd have to put that wayward red on some other thing instead of with its buddies on here. And if this turned out to be a little too short, I could go and get a little bit longer one. So there's a lot more flexibility with this, and I really liked that. I'm also not worrying about pieces potentially getting lost. Like with this one, these actually snap in and out. So I haven't had any of them fall out, but that's still kind of in the back of my mind. Like, what if I lose one, you know? So these definitely wouldn't get lost. So the next thing I wanted to do was figure out, okay, well, how am I going to label these things? Because the way that I labeled these is I took little stickers and I like cut them to the right size. And that took forever, and I didn't enjoy that. So with these, it kind of dawned on me that you can buy masking tape that's thinner than normal masking tape. So you guys know that, you know, normal masking tape is like maybe 1/2 inch wide or so. But you can actually buy, check this out, masking tape that is thinner. I got these at an art store. Arts or crafts store. It's masking. This one's actually called artist tape. I got 2 different kinds. I got artist tape, which is more expensive, like $5 or something, $4, and one just called masking tape, and it was like $2. And this is way more than enough for my entire collection, so that would be pretty cool. And then this is a 1/4 inch thickness. I think 1/2 inch. Well, I'm not sure. I can't remember how thick it is, but I measured it before I went to make sure that it would be the right thickness. And then all you have to do is just tear a piece off and put it on there. It's pretty good. I tested these. Oops, don't go anywhere. So I tested these to make sure that the tape would be pretty good, and it stays pretty well. So I'm just gonna actually label. I'm gonna write right on there instead of like red 1 or red 2 or number 1 or 2 or whatever. I'm just gonna write like China glaze, whatever the color is, like right on here. And then if I don't want to, I don't have to have a spreadsheet. I probably will anyway because I'm kind of anal, but I don't have to. This way it sort of cuts out a bit of a step. That's one more positive, is that I can just look through everything and say, oh, I love that red, what is it? Oh, China glaze. And then I could just walk over and get my China glaze and start going. So that is what I have decided. I wonder if other people out there in the world put as much thought into these things as I do, but it's really important for me to have organization. So for me, this is just an organization technique for my nail polish, and I am going to go with these guys. So these are not the most expensive, but definitely more expensive than these. These were, let me see if I can remember, $3 for 10 of these. You can get 10 wheels just like this for $3 with shipping included from eBay. eBay is actually a really great place to find stuff like this, guys. So if Sally's isn't doing it for you, go on eBay. So you can get 10 of these for $3, and that can do like almost your whole collection if you have 200. So that's pretty good. These, 10 of these for $1 on eBay with like no shipping, like free shipping. So 10 of these for $1, that's super cheap. That might be an awesome solution. Or you can go only one of these, but there's 50 nails instead of 20 or 24. One of these is $3. Or you can do one of these, which is only 20 nails for like $3 or $4. So that's twice as expensive as this. And then just a little bit more expensive than that is the most expensive version, and the version that does not hold the nail polish. This might be good for you, but it wasn't good for me. Is I think around $4 each, one of these, and it was oh, there's 24 on here. So hopefully that'll help somebody out, and you can decide what qualities in nail swatch stuff you value, and you can be more informed when you go out there looking for it. So thanks guys for watching.